there. Okay, so sorry for all of you who are not here, and I promised the recording. Now the recording started, but you didn't miss the big part. So either people don't realize that it is a skill that they can develop, or they don't see that it's important at all. But you are here, right? So you look at you are already ahead of other people because you realize that this topic is indeed important. You are investing your time to listen to something that is about leadership and communication. So I will stop the share for the moment. So that, there we go. So for those of you who don't give this any thought, or I mean, not you, you are obviously here, so you give this a lot of thought. But for other people that don't give this any thought, it means that it's outside of their awareness, right? They are not conscious of the impact that it has on their lives. So, and this is probably wouldn't be a problem if people wouldn't be so emotional. But we are, first of all, steered by our subconscious emotional mind. Human beings are emotional creatures at heart. You know that, right? We do have an intellect, our slower conscious thinking mind that can reason, that can accept and reject ideas. We want to think that we can always choose to be rational, logical human beings, right? But that's a facade. Emotions rule our lives in every level, no matter who you are, where you are. We are emotional creatures. And this can be a problem for people who are not aware of it. It's a problem if you keep ignoring the power of your subconscious mind. It will cause you problems if you keep this knowledge outside of your awareness. We can be logical, conscious most of the time, but there will always be, you know this, there will always be people, there will always be some situations that trigger us. Something can suddenly switch us and we can no longer help ourselves. The emotions take over the rational mind before we know it, and it's fast. And I'm not necessarily talking about those huge emotions, but also those, you know, subtle emotions that gives us a gut feeling of something, or anxiety we can feel before we even know what has caused it, or the worry that is so difficult to shake off, right? Or the feeling of embarrassment that quickly comes back when we are reminded of something from the past. Or maybe we blush or get shy when a special person shows up. Or why not the emotions that can trigger us to become more creative and get more energy. We can never, and we shouldn't be immune against this. It's completely normal and necessary. But we should understand, now hear this, pay extra attention for a few minutes. We should understand that you and I are constantly receiving signals with our 5, or maybe you have 6 senses. That has an impact on our subconscious emotional mind. So when I smell sunscreen, for example, I immediately get a vacation feeling in my body. Do you have something like that? Is there a song that takes you on an emotional trip? Or the other day, I even heard about someone who really knows how to, these signals, how they impact the subconscious mind. He sprays Ajax, so household cleaning product, around the front door of the house, so that when his wife comes home, she's immediately in a good mood because she thinks that he has been cleaning. You see, that's a pro. He knows what signals can do to the emotional subconscious mind. You see? So why am I talking about? Yeah, Alison, try that. Maybe Jeff, that could be something that you can try with your wife. So why am I talking about subconscious minds and signals now? Because also our communication sends out signals to people. So you want to be sure to send out the right signals when you communicate so that the listeners feel connected to you. The clients, your peers, your manager, your team members, the connection. So of course you don't know everything about that other person, but some principles are universal. So when you learn how to practice them, you immediately increase your chances of connecting with people. You want to learn how to connect with people so that you can influence them and their relationship in a positive way. At work, you don't want anyone to feel nervous or anxious, irritated, or worried around you, right? For people to be productive and innovative, we want them to feel comfortable, inspired, positive when we are around. So this book, Everyone Communicates If You Connect, talks about 5 connecting principles and 5 connecting practices. And when you learn and apply these lessons, you can completely redefine and reinvent your personal and professional relationships. No, obviously, there's more to connecting than we can go through here during this lunch hour. But the few principles and practices that we will go through today are something that you can really apply right away this afternoon. And if this is something that really catches your interest, if this is inspiring to you, if you have decided that you are going to further evolve as a communicator and a leader, develop your people skills, then you have some tools that you can use right away. And if you want to learn more of this and get even more practical around it, if you want to apply it to your specific situation and your behavior and the people at work, then you can register for the next leadership communication program that starts end of March, where you grow together with other professionals in a safe and inspiring space. So these small groups are really powerful. I'm launching the small groups, and for some people, even better than individual coaching. I will give you more information about that at the end of the session, so stay tuned. So now I'm gonna share the screen with you again. So, you see that, yeah. So one principle is that connecting increases your influence in every situation. So let's imagine you have frustrated client on the phone, or when you need to present something to your managers, or if you go for an interview. Do you agree that it helps if you are connected to that other person, that there is a connection? According to Harvard Business Review, the number one, I just flipped there. The number one criteria for advancement and promotion for professionals is the ability to communicate effectively. If you want to advance and be promoted, you have to be able to communicate effectively. And that means that you have to, first of all, connect. Several years ago, I experienced a very interesting leadership transition. I worked for 2 very technically skilled top managers. We can call them Bill and Bob. Consider their difference in connecting skills and how they were connected, who they were connected with, when you hear this about Bill, who was there first, and Bob, who replaced him. The thing is, both Bill and Bob wanted the highest leader position that Bill already had. But the global decision takers in the company thought that it was time to give it to Bob. And Bob was better connected to the global manager. So they had a lot of trust in his capabilities. But Bill, on the other hand, was very well connected with the local people that worked in the company. You see, Bill used to joke with everyone, he paid attention to and showed appreciation when someone did a good job. And he was a very responsible yet approachable person. Bob, on the other hand, was known as a person with a bit of a rough style. Dry humor, very intellectual way of talking so that not everyone would understand or feel included. He could also get very angry, or at least there were rumors about it. So people were a little bit afraid of him. So do you think that Bob had some work to do when it came to connecting after he replaced the popular Bill? And of course, Bill decided to leave when Bob got the job. So people were also grieving the loss of Bill when Bob came in as a new manager. And this transition also triggered a huge staff turnover, right? So some people actually left and went with Bill to the other company, all because of the relationship and the connection they had with him. This is not the first time you hear about a leaving manager who is the catalyst for others to also leave, right? You heard it before. People don't leave companies, they leave people. Now, Bob really did his best, and after some time, things stabilized and people got used to him too. He was pretty cool. He was just different. He had to work on the connecting part before people understood him. And one excellent thing that he did was when he invited everyone to his house for beer and barbecue. Voila, he was suddenly seen as a very caring and approachable guy that people could relate to. So connecting is the ability to identify with people and relate to them in such a way that it increases our influence with them. We could now relate to Bob in a more personal and relaxed way as a result of his effort to show a more personal and relaxed side of himself, right? Ever heard, no one cares how much you know until they know how much you care? That is so true, especially in leadership. So some people connect intuitively, which is the case for Bill. They have high interpersonal intelligence. They seem to value people automatically. While others, like Bob, recognize connecting as important, but they don't have the tools and techniques. They need to learn to do what others do intuitively, which is completely fine and very honorable. So I'm not at all saying that this is just for a few and that you need to be born with it. Not at all. You make an effort. So still some people, and you probably have some good examples yourself, don't recognize connecting as important at all. They think that they can do it all on their own. They don't see why they need other people. Why rely on others when it's quicker to do it yourself, right? Or they will only let me down anyway. It's a very arrogant and short-term thinking, especially for a leader. And it's not at all sustainable because it limits our growth opportunities when we can only rely on our own capacity, right? So the better we can connect with other people, the more influence we have and the better our results will be. And someone once asked me, what about scientists or maybe the auditors or the risk managers? It's not so relevant to them, right? They work with numbers. Well, which person seems to be more difficult to find on the job market today? We have some recruiters here on the line. I know that. So, I mean, who is more difficult to find on the job market? Someone with a master's in science, a diploma in audit or certification in risk management, or the one who can lead a team of such experts to produce meaningful results at the same time as they keep employee engagement high? Who's the more difficult to find? Getting the skills and the diplomas is the easy part, really. Often highly regarded, and we pay them a lot of money for it. But having the ability to lead yourself and your team is something that is even more important. You can have 5 brilliant people on your team, but if your leadership is poor, you won't have any great results, because people are emotional creatures and you have to be able to connect if you want to influence and lead them. So to continue to try and outline the consequences of not connecting with people, picture this. Here we have a typical leader in an organization. She wants to deliver and improve results. So she will focus on and talk about that all the time. But if she is not a connector, if she doesn't value others, then it's very likely that she will think that the only way to improve results is to work harder herself and to tell everyone else to do the same. And that's often how people get managerial positions, right? Promotion is often based on technical assessments, isn't it? The best technician gets promoted to lead the team. The trouble is, leadership and technical skills are two totally different skills. Technical skills are technical. Leadership is influence, connecting with people, which comes from valuing people. And technical skills and valuing people, that's polar opposites. The technician that did not yet realize that they need to or learn how to value people will simply think that if you want people to do what they should, then you just tell them to do it and you show them the manual or the policy, whatever you are working with. Now, I don't want to discourage anyone who feels like a real technician here, because it's not at all the point. For all of you here who feel that you're more technician, I'm not saying at all that you can't be great leaders. I'm just saying that technical skills aren't enough. Here's an illustration, just a small disclaimer with this illustration. It's there to be helpful. It's not exact science. But what it should show you is that the manager who can't connect works even harder. She puts in 20–30% more time and effort. And when that happens, the total productivity of the team goes up very little. The disconnected manager gets even more disconnected and is not at all able to motivate and engage the team. The extra hard work makes a huge difference for her, for that manager. Big difference to her family, her well-being, but very little difference to anything else. But what a connector realizes is that if they could just get another 10% out of everyone, themselves included, but everyone else around, then that adds up to far more than they can contribute with alone. And as a result, they don't get divorced and sick. And they achieve this by connecting with people. And I've seen this, and I'm sure you have as well. Managers who think that they are extremely successful because they are working like crazy, but they are so disconnected from their people. So the overall productivity and employee engagement is actually low. Think about it. So are you convinced yet about the importance of always working on your ability to connect with people? Are you willing to pay the price of not connecting? Or could it be worth it to make an effort to connect with your colleagues? The reason why I keep saying that communication is a skill is because it's much more complicated than just to say, okay, I'm going to go and make them work now. I'm going to get more out of the other people now. It's not something that you can just decide or even schedule for. You have to connect and build trust. And maybe it is possible to push and intimidate and chase. Linda is convinced here. That's very good. Maybe we can, for a short term, really push and intimidate and chase people to work harder and faster. But the effect is very short term. And you end up working so much harder yourself. Leadership is the ability to create results through and with others. It's all about others. So, as I said many times now, anyone can learn how to make every communication an opportunity for powerful connection. It really is just any other skill. You need to learn the skill and practice it. So the good news is, if you think that you are more of a technician and a task-oriented person today, someone who isn't intuitively a people person, no problem. You can learn and you can get really comfortable with this. And the best news is that when you, and now I'm talking to the technician or the people, if you feel more like a task-oriented person, when you up-level your ability to connect with others, it will be so much more significant and pay off immediately. Remember Bob? He went from a 1 to a 7 just by inviting people to his place. It was so appreciated, so disarming. And that brings me to the next principle. Connecting is more a skill than a natural talent. To connect with others, there's a way how you can leverage on the skill and experience you already have. So there are several factors that great connectors use when they want people to listen to them. So I want to introduce you to them so that you can think of what you can use to up-level your ability to connect. And maybe you already do some of it today, but you can practice it and become more intentional with it. So the first is relationships, who you know. And a quick way to gain credibility with an individual or a group or an audience is to borrow it from someone who already has credibility with them. Who you know can open the door for you to connect with someone. Just like when you meet someone for the first time, and while you talk, you realize you both know a specific person very well. And if that is someone you like a lot, then you will immediately feel that you like this new person too. Like, oh, I went to school with him, so cool, you have to tell him I said hi. And you immediately connect because you have the same childhood friend or ex-colleague or whatever it might be. I'm sure that this has happened to you too. Or when someone that you like introduces you to a new person, you kind of accept that person immediately because this person that you like has been the bridge. You see? The next next one is insight. What you know. If you share your expertise generously with others, you give people reason to respect you and develop a sense of connection with you. Here's where the more technical and task-oriented people have a big plus, right? Use your technical knowledge to connect with people by being approachable. Sharing and helping. It's so appreciated. And I think we all know someone who isn't necessarily the most social person, but still someone we really like to go to when we need help and support. For me, it was definitely like that in my corporate career, that I had a few people that I really liked to go to when it came to some technical questions or when I needed to bounce something with somebody. And they were not necessarily the most social people in the office, but someone I really trusted when it came to the technical skills. Success is the third one. What you have done. People want to be successful, right? We all want that. So we seek out others who have accomplished something to get their advice. If you are successful in anything that you do, there will be people who want to listen to you and connect with you. Mentoring, for example, the relationship between the mentor and the mentee builds upon the principle that the mentee wants to be connected with and be influenced by the mentor. We even pay a lot of money for that. And then ability, what you can do. If you have, so again, for the technically people, if you have a high level of ability in an area, others may want to connect with you because of that ability. Excellence connects. Individuals who perform at a high level in their profession often have an instant credibility with others in other areas as well. Like Take Elon Musk, who is obviously very capable of things. He gets his voice heard in all kinds of areas where he's not at all an expert, but we trust him being a smart guy because he has proved it in other areas. People admire them. We want to be like them, and we feel connected to them. When they speak, others listen. And again, Elon Musk, he says it himself, he is not a people person, but still people want to be connected with him. Also, that's why George Clooney can convince us to buy Nespresso, and that's why Nike is willing to pay huge amounts to Serena Williams, or why Cristiano Ronaldo could create noise on the stock market when he removed the Coca-Cola bottles at the press conference, remember? So again, this is good news for the technician. If you are a technician, a task-oriented person, you probably have high abilities in your area of expertise. So you don't have to be the entertainer to connect with your colleagues. You have something else, but you must be at least be approachable. I mean, it has to be easy to come to you at least. So if you show yourself humble in spite of your excellence, well, then you are soon a great connector too. And lastly, sacrifice, how you have lived. If you made sacrifices, suffered tragedy, or overcome painful obstacles, many people will find it easier to relate to you. And if you have been able to remain positive yet humble during life's difficulties, others will admire you and will connect with you. Take Nelson Mandela or many other speakers that connect with their audiences because of a painful story they share. We love to hear about survivors, how people have gone through pain and come back stronger. And so to make it more real to us who might not have had huge tragedies, well, I don't know your story, but if you're not ready to share huge tragedies at work, but it's still so powerful to show authenticity and showing that you are vulnerable also as a leader. You don't need to get private or have any extraordinary stories to share, but stop trying to look like nothing can get you when you in fact are also stressed. You also have doubts. You know, people connect with humans, not robots. So stop pretending that you are untouchable. So these are 5 factors that you can use to connect with others. And the more factors you master, the greater your chance of connecting with people. You must build on your strength. It must be natural for you. Develop your own style, but be authentic and use whatever factors that you have to connect with people. You don't have to have the tragic story, like I said. You don't have to have that to connect with me. Maybe you just happen to know my neighbor, and that's how we hit it off. The point is that you take what you have and you use it to connect with people. There. So let me just recap some key messages so far. No matter your position or your title, leadership is critical because anything you achieve in life, in every area of your life, will be with and through other people. Everything rises and falls with leadership. And what is leadership? Leadership is influence. How can I develop my ability to influence others? Develop the skill of connecting. And how can you develop the skill of connecting? You learn to value others. And there you have the shift in perception. Take yourself out of the center and place others there. That is really how you enter the door, start to value people and show them that you value them. So now let's take a look at a practice that can help you to connect better. Maybe you can practice this already this afternoon. I used to think that it was all about being the best, right? If you want to lead, you have to be the best. If you want people to listen to you, you got to impress them. But influence is not about impressing people. if you impress people, you are actually creating a distance between you. Did you ever felt starstruck by somebody? Maybe it's not even a famous person. I remember when the big global head, the CEO of the company where I used to work, when she visited our local office here in Luxembourg and she came around to shake hand with everyone, I was a bit starstruck by her. A leader who had been in her successful position for years and world famous even, and shake her hand. Yeah, I was starstruck. There was definitely not a connection because there was a distance between us. So if you want to connect with people, you don't want to impress them. You want to connect. And remember how I said earlier that people are emotional beings. They are not logical. They're first of all emotional. And to understand how to connect with people emotionally, we need to understand that we don't see the world as it is. We see the world as we are. And we are all different. And let me try to illustrate what I mean by that. Take a look at this. You got 5 seconds to decide what you see. So do you see a saxophonist or do you see a woman's face? It all depends on where your awareness is. Now that I already told you about the 2 images, you are aware of them and you can see them both. But it is the same picture. So the same picture viewed differently by different people. So if the picture is the same, then the difference must be within us, right? We all have a story. There are different things that have impacted us, which changes the way we see things. And the difference is called conditioning. See, we don't see the world as it is, we see it as we are. And the implications of this with regard to communication are enormous. We all see the world differently, so we interpret it differently. We have different filters. Look at what's going on in the world right now. Talk about filters. We have different filters when we look at war. Now, this is a simple example, the one with the picture, I mean, but it illustrates my point in that we are all different. We all see the world differently. We have different beliefs, values, cultures, and so on. But to ignore that when trying to connect with people is to miss the whole point of connecting. Connectors understand this, and I want you to understand that. I want you to see that we have to connect with people on common ground. Common ground is the key word here. You have to find the common ground, even if it's just a little strip. See, if I talk to you about something I believe in, and you don't believe in that, you're probably not going to show much interest, and there won't be any emotional resonance between us. And even worse, if I violate your beliefs, if I start to debate against your beliefs, your strong beliefs about something, you're actually going to have a bad feeling about me. No one wants to hear that what they believe is wrong. If you challenge someone's beliefs or ideas directly at work, for example, they're going to reject you emotionally. And this is the ego in the raw state. This is just how it works. It wants to eliminate everyone that doesn't agree with them. And this is why it's so challenging to talk about religion and politics. So if you want to connect with someone, you got to go to them. You have to go first. And you need to connect on the common ground that you find. You have to meet people where your beliefs and theirs intersect. That's common ground. When we can connect with them there, not here, and then take them where we want them to go. Don't confuse manipulation with influence now. It's not the same thing. You do this to influence for a better collaboration and results. But if you don't connect first, people won't go with you. And this is how enemies can become friends. And this is what we are hoping for right now, that this is going to happen today. in the world. But here, this is something from the past. This is Daryl Davis. He's an African-American man who managed to become friends with KKK members and convince them to leave the Klan. And he says, talking to Klansmen has worked for me and I've proven it, says Davis. I appeal to people's common sense. I don't seek to convert them, but if they spend time with me, they can't hate me. The Klansman sees that I want to say the same thing for my family as he does for his. If you can work on the things in common, that's how you build friendship. Now, this might seem like a bit of an extreme example, but if he can do it, you can do it with your colleague. It can be as simple as asking how the weekend was before you jump into the question you have. Show sympathy, share something about yourself. And this is why it's so essential to talk and negotiate and keep the contact with real people also during conflict and war. There are big things happening, but also in your office, there are smaller things happening. If you feel disconnected, if you feel that there's a friction with somebody in the office, connect. Go back. Don't start to avoid that other person. Don't start to, in your mind, tell yourself over and over how stupid or crazy or unreasonable that person is. Go to that person and look for the strip of common ground. So now this takes energy. I know that it takes energy to connect. There's an investment necessary before the payoff, but that's true of anything in life, right? You have to sow if you expect to reap. I think we can all agree that it also takes huge amounts of energy to have conflicts and friction with people when we don't invest in the connection. So invest first, make the connection first to avoid the friction. Now, we're just about to finish. So we are going to have to leave it there, but hopefully we've covered some ideas that you can start to use right away. We briefly touched on a few principles for communicating and connecting. We spoke about principle 1, connecting increases your influence in every situation. And there, I stopped sharing with you so I can see you better. So connecting increases your influence in every situation, and leadership is influence. So great leaders know how to connect. Leadership is all about others. Take yourself out of the center. Then principle number 2 today was connecting is more a skill than a natural talent. This gives hope to everyone. You can learn how to leverage on the skills and experience you already have. And then we went through one of the practices from the book, which is you have to connect with people on common ground, which you are going to test this afternoon. So I wish we had time to talk more about this, but I want to honor your time. There are more principles and practices worth knowing. Imagine going through these lessons in a group setting. What would happen to you if you took a deeper dive into becoming a better communicator and leader? What would that do for your personal, but also your professional life? If you want to grow, if you're ready to grow as a leader and improve your communication, then you can sign up for the training that starts end of March. This time I have several groups available upon request from clients, and because they fill up pretty fast, because I have maximum 8 people per group. I already have some awesome people who have signed up and registered, so I know that this will be really, really good. Now, I would be happy also if you joined. So I will share with you a link in the chat, but I will also email it to you. So that if you have any questions about this, then please let me know. But if you are ready to grow as a leader and communicator, you definitely need to sign up for the groups. Like I said, for some people, it's even more powerful than individual coaching, because what happens in the group is that you see your own transformation and the transformation happening in your peers in the group. and it's confidential, it's kept small so that you can share your challenges and your wins with the people in the group who are going through the same process. So thank you for your attention. I will share the link. Have a fantastic rest of the day, and don't hesitate to contact me if you have any questions or feedback. So thank you so much for your time. And great to see so many people joining.
Did you add the link?
Yeah, so sorry. Thank you, Jeff. Thank you, Jeff. So let me see here. Chat. I will also email it out.
Okay.
I can't find it myself.
Would you be on the huddle at 6:30? What, Central Eastern Time?
Today I won't have time. I'm completely, I have clients and other meetings. There, chat.
Good deal. Well, I will.
There you go.
All right. All right. I just opened the link. There you are.
Yeah.
All right. There. All right.
Thank you, Alexandra. Yes, thank you as well for, thank you,
All
Jeff.
right. Bye-bye.
Have a good day. Bye.
Bye-bye.